Good morning, everybody. And first thing I want to do is wish all you mothers a happy Mother's Day. And this is very strange, very unusual times we're having. It's sure strange to me be talking to a telephone. Now, they wanted me to try to teach a Sunday school class here at Hines Baptist Church, and I am the Sunday school teacher here for the adults class. And I've been looking forward to it, and I sure missed my Sunday school class. You know, a lot of you out there are missing things like going to eat a meal and not have to clean up after yourself, and going to a movie and being able to sit by the people you want to sit by, and things are just different. I mean, they're so different now. In my house, we got Clorox. Look at this. We got Clorox. We got disinfectant. We got hand sanitizer. We got masks. We got all this stuff. So times are different. Things are really changing. But the good thing is Jesus isn't changing. And so it's a time now that everybody has a second chance in life to turn their lives around. And I think that's what a lot of preachers are preaching. It's the end of time. And I'm sure a lot of Sunday school teachers are saying it's the end of time. But me, I'm one of those, I believe in the Bible that nobody knows when the end of time's coming. So what I think it is Jesus giving us all a second chance. And today we're going to study about Jesus and about his forgiveness. Now, a lot of you may have a Sunday school book. And if you do, right here's what our Sunday school book looks like at Hines Baptist. And I'm sure a lot of Baptists use this. And if you have that book, you can turn to page 119. And if you don't have the book, you can turn to Matthew chapter 18. It's going to be verse 21 through 28 and verses 32 through 35. Now, I'm going to try, and in our Sunday school class, before we even get started, we always ask if anybody has prayer requests. So I want to make sure that you know that you can send your prayer requests to us. We'll add you to our prayer list. Our Sunday school class consists of deacons and ladies. The oldest lady in our class is 84 years old, and she hardly ever misses a Sunday, and I just love to see her, and I miss her. I wish I could hug her. But right now, like I said, these times are different. Things are really changing. Matter of fact, I said, how am I going to talk to a telephone? And somebody told me one of the things I need to do is start out with a joke. My problem is I don't know a lot of jokes. But I will tell you a short story right quick. One time, back a long time ago, I used to have a filling station in Delmer, Alabama. Some of y'all know where that is. And we used to have a guy that would come by there and trade with us quite often. And his name was Rufus Mann. Now, all y'all know Rufus Mann, especially if you're from Winston County. There's even in Lynn, Alabama, there's even a road named after him. Well, Rufus one time was a witness to a break-in and people stealing stuff out of a plant. And so when Rufus had to go to court, the attorney there was an attorney for the boys there that stole the stuff. And of course, there was a district attorney there. And so they called Rufus to stand. And of course, back in them days, you put your hands on the Bible and you had to swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. And of course, Rufus said he would. And so the district attorney asked Rufus, said, Rufus, did you witness a crime? And he said, I did. And they said, well, Rufus, what did you witness? And he said, I witnessed two boys stealing some stuff out of the plant. And so the district attorney asked him, he said, well, now, Rufus, do you see those two boys? And he said, yeah, they're right over there. And district attorney said, thank you, Rufus. I appreciate you telling the truth. So the attorneys for the two boys got up and said, now, Rufus, you have sworn to tell the truth. Is that correct? Rufus says, that's correct. And he said, well, let me ask you this, Rufus. Was it night when you saw these two boys? And he said, yes. And he said, so you mean to tell me that you saw these two boys, even though it was night, you saw these two boys and you can identify them, even though it was dark, you saw them steal that merchandise. He said, that's right. And he said, Rufus, now let me ask you this. He said, now it was dark. And how far would you say they was away? Would you say they was 25 feet, 100 feet, 150 feet? How far would you say them boys was from you? So Rufus looked at him. He said, I don't know, probably 150 feet. Now the attorney for the two boys kind of really got excited. And he said, now look, Rufus, you mean to tell me at night at 150 feet, you saw them two boys steal this stuff and you can identify them and you know it was them two boys. I just want to know how far you can see and at night. Rufus looked him square in the eye and he said, well, I can see the moon. How far is that? Now, I hope y'all like that story. Rufus was one of those guys that everybody in this county loves, and he had some great stories, and that was just one of them. But I want us to get into our Bible verses now. And it starts here with Matthew 18, chapter 18, verse 21 through 22. It said, then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him, till 7 times? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Now, I'm going to draw you a little picture here. I want you to picture that Jesus was always training his disciples, and this was one of the times that he used to train them and get them ready, because Jesus knew that he was going to die on the cross. So here they were in this little area here, and I'm sure I can picture Peter. He was kind of the leader of all the apostles and all the disciples there, and I'm sure they got to talking, and they said, Peter, ask Jesus how many times we're supposed to forgive them, because back in that day, the church or the priest, that you were only to forgive somebody 3 times. Now, after that 3rd time, you could be punished. And the church could punish you. They could punish you by even sending you to jail if they saw fit. So Peter thought he was really doing good now here in this verse, because he says, till 7 times. Peter said, Lord, so Peter went way above what the church was doing. So Peter was kind of patting himself on the back for doing this. And Jesus says, no, not 7 times, Peter, but 70 times 7. Now think of that. What Jesus was telling Peter, you're supposed to forgive. It don't mean how many times your brother does something against you, whether it's maybe he steals something from you, maybe he spreads rumors, maybe he maybe at work even, maybe somebody takes credit for what you did. We've all had these things happen to us, right? I mean, we've all had things happen to us that made us mad. But here Jesus was telling Peter, it didn't matter how many times this happened. You are to forgive them time after time after time after time. Now, here it doesn't say anything, and I want to make sure everybody understands, it doesn't say anything here in the Bible about if you're in an abusive relationship, maybe the husband's mean or beats you up, or the wife's mean and beats the husband up. I'm not telling you that you got to stay with them and forgive them. I'm not telling you that. What the Bible says, though, you are to forgive them in your heart. So don't think that I'm trying to tell you to stay in a relationship that God don't want you in. Now, here, Jesus used parables a lot of times to talk about things that he wanted to make points about. And here Jesus tells the parable of the unforgiving debtor. Now, this unforgiving debtor, I'm just going to, let me read the verses here. This is coming from Matthew 18, verses 23 through 27. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven like unto a certain king, which could take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanding him to be sold, and his wife, and his children, and all that he had, and payments to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of the servant was moved with compassion, and loosened him, and forgave him the debt. Now, first of all, think of this as this 10,000 talents. I want you to think of it would be like me and you today trying to pay back our debt that our United States of America's in. We would never get that done. It didn't matter. 10,000 talents was just so much money that it's just hard to imagine. This guy could have sold everything. He could have worked every day of his life. He could have sold his children into slavery. He could have done whatever, but he would have never been able to pay this debt back. But because he fell on his knees, and because he begged his Lord there, the king, which the king here represents the Lord, but here he begged, Lord, just don't let me, I'll pay you back. Somehow I'll pay you back. Please don't sell my children. Lord, please don't sell my wife. Lord, please don't make me sell my property. I'll pay you everything I owe you. Well, because of that, and because he got down on his knees and asked for forgiveness here of his debt, the king forgave his debt. Not just part of it, but all of his debt. His record had been set straight. He didn't owe anything. Now, look, think of this. If this guy could forgive this guy for all that he owed him, can't we forgive someone who talks about us or makes fun of us or just hurts our feelings from time to time? Can't we do that? I think we can. Well, let's go on now, because they tell me I got to kind of rush through this. Now, I want y'all to know in Sunday school, they'll tell you I'm long-winded. If Miss Linda was here, she'd be pointing at her watch here in a few minutes, telling me it's time for us to go because, we got to have a bathroom break now before preaching. Now, I don't want any of y'all to go to sleep. Now, preachers are used to that, but Sunday school teachers are not. So y'all pay attention here, and we're going to get through in just a minute. Matthew 18, verses 28, 32 through 35. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him, and he took him by the throat, saying, Pay me what thou owest. Then his Lord, first of all, think of this now. He had just been set free from all of his debt. A guy forgave him for everything he owed him. And he could have never paid the guy back. He would have been in prison forever trying to raise that money. He would have been there forever. Here, a guy owed him 100 pence. Now, 100 pence is more like 90 days. Or what you get paid in 90 days back then, you would earn this 90 pence. So you can see how different this amount of money was. One of them was way up here that you can't even imagine, and one was way down here where all of us probably could pay it back. Well, this guy forgot what Jesus had done for him and the God had done for him, didn't he? Didn't take him long to forget. We're all that way sometimes. Jesus was our example to live our lives. If you'll remember, go back to when Jesus, they brought the lady that committed adultery in front of her. You remember that? Y'all remember the story where the Pharisees brings her in and said, Lord, or says, Jesus, here is this lady. She's committed adultery. By Moses' law, we're supposed to stone her. Now, we're supposed to stone her, Lord. So what do you say? And Jesus, remember what Jesus did? He picked up a stone and he put it out like this. And he said, who is guilty? Who has not sinned? Who's not committed a sin? You cast the first stone. So it's up to us to forgive things that people have done to us, right? And I think Jesus was an awful good example. That's just one of them. You remember another time when Jesus told Peter, said, Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. You're going to deny me 3 times before the cock crows. And of course, Peter said, oh no, Lord, I won't deny you. No, sir, I won't do it. But you know what happened in that story too? Peter denied him 3 times, but you know what? Jesus forgave him for it. And Jesus paid an ultimate price for what happened. And also going on through, you remember Jesus was on the cross. Jesus was on the cross and he was up there with 2 thieves. And one of the thieves, you remember, kind of made fun of Jesus, said he ain't no God. If he was, he'd get himself off of here. But the other thief said, Jesus, forgive me for all the things I've done and remember me when I'm in paradise, when you go to paradise. And Jesus remembered him and said, you will be remembered today. You will be with me in paradise. And look, the ultimate forgiveness that Jesus did was when they nailed him to the cross, took his life. But he said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now think of that. And think how easy it would have been for him to call 10,000 angels to come get him off that cross. So look, it's got to be easy, real easy for us to forgive if Jesus could forgive all those folks. Going on with the verses, in verse 32, then his Lord, after that, he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I have forgave thee all thy debt because thou desired me to. Shouldest now thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his Lord was wroth and delivered him to the tormentors till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, even you from your hearts forgive not every one his brother their trespasses. So I guess the moral of the story here, remember this: when somebody does something good for you and good to you and forgives you, pass that on. Let's help each other to forgive each other, because we all make mistakes. We all say things that we shouldn't say. We all do things that we shouldn't do. But luckily for us, we got Jesus to ask forgiveness for, and he always forgives us, doesn't he? Now look, this has been, I know I've rushed through here and tried to get through with this lesson, but I just wanted to make sure, number one, that my Sunday school class knows how much I miss them. If I had them all here, I'd love to hug them, but I don't. But someday we will. We're all going to be back together someday, whether it's here or in heaven. So just keep your heads up. Don't forget, keep your sanitizer. Keep all your bleaches. Let's keep everybody healthy. And let's remember to those that are wearing those masks, let's don't make fun of them. The ones that are not, don't make fun of them. We're all different. All of us are different. So let's be different together. Let's all forgive each other for things that they do to us. And let's all give Jesus the praise. Thank y'all for coming today. And thank y'all for listening to this old Halo guy teach a Sunday school lesson. I love y'all. And I hope that God blesses you today. And again, happy Mother's Day. God bless.